AskReddit. Redditors. Have you ever been in a community so toxic you had to leave? If so, which one? Subscribe or I'll end humanity. I grew up in a bad family environment, and I learned to tolerate certain things as a coping mechanism, survival strategy. As an adolescent, I should have been more sensitive to those qualities in people and learned to avoid them, but instead I was especially tolerant as I had learned to be. And I surrounded myself with shitty people who took advantage of me. At some point I realized my friend group was toxic and started cutting them out one at a time. It was a slow and painful process, and it fucked me up to end those friendships even though they were bad for me. I had a lot of doubts. How could all my friends possibly be jerks? If I'm having conflicts with everyone I know, then obviously the problem is me, and not them. Right. Well, turns out it was both. They were all jerks, because I had chosen jerks to be friends with. In a lot of cases, my friends didn't even like each other. What a mess I made. As an adult, it's a lot harder to make new friends. But I'm glad I eventually made those realizations and cut people off for my sake. I'm still lonely, especially in lockdown, but the people I do have in my life are a lot more supportive now. It turns out that when I'm not following a deeply ingrained path of self-destruction that I started on as a child, I'm actually a pretty good judge of character. I was briefly in a Discord server where mods had made a role called the clown role, and gave it to anyone who went against the majority opinion. Eating disorder. Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. When I was younger, I made a private account as I was going through a difficult time and beginning to experience several mental health issues, one being an eating disorder. I followed similar accounts, however you quickly end up with people who are pro-Anna. Shared tips and just generally were also using their private account as their diary, but I guess it's just toxic when you're all in a bad place. I internalized all those messages, images and behaviors enforced by this community at such a fragile age that it's still stuck with me 7/8 of a year later. I don't blame that community for my ed, but it definitely made it worse, and I also saw it make it worse for others. Overwatch. I love the gameplay, I really do. But when people start yelling at me for not getting a team kill or not picking the characters that they want, it ruins the game for me. Then they pick a troll character and say stupid shit like, "Okay, well, if you're throwing the game, then I'm going to throw too." Quote, like, how do they expect new people to learn when everyone is held to such a high standard? Such a shame. That game is a lot of fun. More of an online community. It was a breastfeeding support group. As a first-time mom, I really wanted to learn about baby stuff, so I joined quite a few mom groups. The excessive superiority and self-righteousness of these purist breast is best advocates was bad. They would lambaste moms for offering formula milk to the babies. Some were so harsh that it was truly hurtful for the women asking for help, especially moms of newborns who are hormonal and sleep deprived. Found a different source of info instead and left that group. Am I the asshole? The hive mind and bullshit opinions are unbearable. I tried League of Legends once, and #X200B, never again. The K-pop fandom, monsieur, I still like the music, but I tried to avoid crazy stans. It wasn't toxic per se, but it was a negative part in my life. I used to have a friend group that never made me really happy. I never felt validated by them and became sad whenever I was around them. Monsieur, I love being around people and friends, and just knowing that having to leave them and get some friends that like me more was scary, and I just didn't want to have to leave a bunch of friends that I had spent 3 years with. I found some really good friends now. I haven't really talked to my old friends, but life is a lot better now where I really feel like I belong with them, monsieur. When I was in 6th grade, I tried to become one of the cool kids, and I was actually pretty much one of them for a while. But then I realized that about half of what we did was making fun of people. So I left the group at the end of the year. Ever live in Anwa? I did. Never again. All of the just no subreddits. Way too toxic for me. Funny enough, so was relationship_advice. Almost every post has red flags and strangers calling for you to leave your partner. Seeing as how I'm single and my mom passed away, I don't need that negativity anymore.